Hi, I'm Laura with TrueWell, and today I wanted to go over with you how to best use your anti-inflammatory quick start guide so that you can get the absolute most benefit out of it to get your anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle started as quickly and easily as possible. So when you first download your anti-inflammatory quick start guide, this is what you're going to see. I've got this open in Google Docs, and this is just the cover of your quick start guide. I've got a little bit of information. Please do not copy this. If you have questions on sharing it, please send me an email. I would really appreciate that. An introduction to me, if you don't know me already, I have spent the last 10 years honing in on creating phenomenal health for myself through the anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle. And I have also helped others as a certified health coach and a nutrition specialist. I have my Master of Science in Nutrition. And I happen to believe that the anti-inflammatory dietary style and lifestyle really will benefit almost anyone on the planet. So I really promote this. I absolutely believe in it, and can give you countless examples of how it's helped me. I used to be ridden with anxiety. I've had severe bouts of anxiety and depression. I've had horrible hormone issues. I'm a recovered sugar addict. And I've had other issues happening in the last few years that made me really nail down this, anti-inflammatory dietary style, including joint pain. My dad has osteoarthritis, and I had started to develop symptoms of it, and so I was having joint pain. I have asthma, which is, as of now, not considered to be treatable or not treatable, but curable. And so, there's a lot of things that this dietary style has helped me tremendously with, in addition to keeping my blood sugar in check. I have type 2 diabetes in my family, and I had gestational diabetes with 2 of my kiddos. So this is really important to me, and I know so many people can benefit from this. And it becomes more of just, this thing that you need to do just, to lose weight or to, solve some of these issues. But those things, just dampen your quality of life to no end. And it's just really unfortunate that some people don't even know that this is an option for you to help those, symptoms without using medication. Now, I'm not saying, that medication may not be necessary, but I know for me and for countless others, just changing their dietary style like this to an anti-inflammatory diet can be instrumental in avoiding having to take medications or in helping those medications be way more effective. So again, this is why I truly wholeheartedly believe in the anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle. And that's what we're going to go over in this quick start guide, because there happens to be a ton of misinformation out there about what foods are included in it and not included in it. So the next page is just the table of contents. Number 1 is just the introduction to what I have created, called the cheat codes framework. And number 2 is basically where we start into the cheat codes. So CHEAT. So C is for cut the sugar and junk. H is for how to eat. E is for execute daily with meal planning. A is for automate. And T is for tweak, turbocharge, and thrive. And then we're going to talk about a couple of next steps. And then you also have included in this a 3-day anti-inflammatory meal plan to get you started on this anti-inflammatory diet quickly. So let's move on to number 1, the introduction to this. I kind of talked about this a little bit already, but around here at TrueWell, we're all about the anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle. This just talks a little bit about my background, nutrition specialist. Again, I have my master's in nutrition, and that I really, truly, wholeheartedly believe in this dietary style. Not as just, a fad diet, but as a total lifestyle change for the rest of your life. And, like I said, I've already kind of nailed down on some of the benefits of it for, maybe conditions that you're trying to solve. A lot of people come to this dietary style for weight loss, but the truth is, once you shift into this way of eating, the weight for most people just starts to naturally come off. Now, if you're having trouble with that, if it plateaus, that kind of thing, there are a couple of other, tweaks and things that can be, gone into from, that perspective. But for the most part, this system is just absolutely life-changing, and that's, really what we want to get started into, is just kind of the basics of it so you can understand what it's all about and how to actually get started with it. So this next page is where we start into the cheat codes framework. And again, it's an acronym, CHEAT. And this framework is really just a step-by-step blueprint for how to, get started on the anti-inflammatory diet. And then move into how to personalize it for yourself, how to make it happen every day, how to, automate it where things are just happening in very little time. This is where a lot of people get hung up with starting a new diet or dietary style, is because they don't think that they have the time or the brain power, to just make it happen every day. It's a lot to think about when you're, trying to shift gears and how you've eaten for who knows how long. I had eaten like I said, I was a recovered sugar addict. I was that way since childhood. So it's a lot to take in. But when you get to that automation stage, you can create a system for yourself where it goes on autopilot, where you don't even have to think about it. So for example, my system is set up where I can pull up my meal plan, generate my shopping list, send it to the store, and have all of that done within 7 minutes or less every week. So it is a no-brainer to get all of this set up where you can automate it in that way. And then the very last step is, any system that you have, you're going to have to tweak it. I mean, life changes, we go through life stages, seasons of life, things like that, and you have to tweak things so that they can continue to work as efficiently as possible for you. But also in that, we want to turbocharge it and thrive with lifestyle changes as well. And those are also really important in the anti-inflammatory lifestyle, because all of those things that work together they kind of work in synchrony. So we're just going to talk about that in a minute. But the first thing I want to dive into is the first step, which is C, cut the sugar and junk. Sugar is one of the worst things that you can consume when you have issues that stem from chronic inflammation. And so cutting out sugar and the foods that are metabolized like sugar, which include refined grains, all of those things are going to be things that the very first things that we need to cut out. So, the basis for this basically is just clean eating and cutting out that sugar, the junk food, things that are processed, the trans fats, any of these, omega-6 fats, things like that cause inflammation. All of those we want to cut out and really implement this basis for clean eating to understand how much more beneficial that is for your body and how much it's going to bring down the inflammation, in the first place, before you even think about adding in, these quote unquote anti-inflammatory foods. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people have problems quitting sugar, and I regularly survey everyone on my email list, people in Facebook groups, things like that, just to, make sure that I have a better understanding of what exactly it is in your stage that where you're getting stuck, where you can't move on to make these things happen. And around 50% of people who start an anti-inflammatory diet have a really hard time quitting sugar. Now, when I say that, that comes in two different camps of people. Some people they don't really understand what, quitting sugar actually entails. Does that mean, can I not have fruits? These kind of questions. But mainly it is added sugar and flour. And when I say flour, I mean refined flour, but a lot of times, and we'll talk about this in just a minute, the grains that you eat don't need, even if they say they're whole grain, they're still jacking your blood sugar up. So we've got people who can just, pull themselves off of that in a week, maybe two, and they're absolutely fine. But we have other people, and I was in the second camp, where it did not matter what I did. I had so many problems trying to quit sugar that I just could not do it. I maybe could get to the 2-week mark. I actually tried the Sugar Busters diet way back in the day when it first came out. And at the end of the few weeks that I did it, I had such severe cravings that I downed an entire box of pecan sandy cookies, those like shortbread cookies, the big pack, in one sitting, probably in a 15 to 30 minute period. I had the whole entire box. So this is what I'm talking about, is that either you can do it, 1 to 2 weeks, you're great, or you need extra help for it. So that's what this quiz is for, is to really, get more curious about where you're at in that. The one thing that I want to emphasize is regardless of which camp you're in, it is not your fault. This is, programming that's been done by food companies in addition to genetics, things like that. So I really want you to understand, even regardless of where you fall in this, option 1 or option 2 on this, it's not your fault. It's just getting curious about what is. And from that point, once you, make that discovery, figuring out where to go from there. So that's what this quiz is all about. I encourage you to, click the link, take that quiz and figure that out while you're going through this quick start guide. And then number 3 is where we move on to how to eat. So here's the truth about an anti-inflammatory diet. The basics of an anti-inflammatory diet can start with kind of like the blueprint of the Mediterranean diet. But what we're finding is that when you have more inflammation than normal, like maybe you have diabetes, you have IBS, IBD, any kind of inflammatory condition like that, they're starting to call this the itis diet, ITIS, which means inflammation. And then from the Mediterranean diet, you go one step further and you remove gluten and dairy. So we've got 2 other things that you can remove. So if you see a lot of diets that say, gluten-free, dairy-free, they're kind of trying to, hone in on this, that it's an anti-inflammatory style, but you're basically going just one step further than the Mediterranean diet. So what we do in understanding how to eat is we start with what condition you have, because so many conditions actually have very specific foods that studies have shown are not good for them to eat. So what we do is kind of pinpoint from what conditions you have. We figure out what foods are making your condition worse. We take those out. So when we do an elimination diet, this is just part 1 of these 2 pages in this PDF document. That part 1 is where we really, like I said, start out with the Mediterranean diet. Here's your guidelines for that. Here's your proteins, your healthy fats, guidelines about carbohydrates and alcohol. And then when we get to the elimination diet part, this is where a lot of people get hung up because they don't understand how to do an elimination diet. So this usually takes 21 days of pulling yourself off of anything that you obviously you're not going to eat things that you're allergic to, but anything that you are sensitive to, anything you suspect that you're sensitive to, and then like I referenced before, the foods that you really need to eliminate anyways based on what your condition is. So, any of these can include grains, nightshade vegetables, dairy, nuts, eggs, sodium, alcohol, soy, and again, any other food that you suspect you have an allergy or an intolerance to. And so here's where we talk about this is the known foods that are inflammatory, which we talked about a second ago: sugar, refined flours, processed foods, all of that stuff. Number 2 is foods that the science is a little bit conflicting about, but can be determined for you within an elimination diet. And then number 3 would be obviously your known allergies or intolerances, personal to you, or foods that should be avoided based on the condition you have. Now, when we get into anti-inflammatory foods, I want you to understand something. These foods are not just a magic bullet, right? You have to take the things away that are causing the inflammation in the first place for these to be able to do their job at peak. So vegetables and fruit, this is going to talk about, what are the best ones for you to add, your healthy fats, and then any extra herbs, spices, and teas. The next page is an elimination diet daily food log. Now, if you want to go ahead and get started on an elimination diet by yourself, then this is a really good way to do that. I will warn you, a lot of people, try to do this on their own, but at the same time, they're still eating things that have like recipes with a ton of ingredients in them or packaged foods that have a ton of ingredients in them. It is extremely hard to pinpoint things that you're reacting to when you're still eating foods with a lot of ingredients. So again, this is the point of the elimination diet, is to make it very, very simple. For 21 days, you eliminate all of those things with foods that are okay to eat that you're not reacting to. Take an inventory of how you're feeling, and then you add back one food or food group one at a time. And so this is just, a daily food log. If you're able to do that, on your own, you don't eat complicated, recipes or packaged foods, whatever, things like that, you absolutely can do it on your own. And here is, just a daily food log to help you do that. Things or patterns that I noticed today is at the bottom. These are just things you want to kind of take note of. Any puffiness, inflammation, heat, redness, things like that, pain, tummy troubles, joint aches, headaches, any of these things can be attributed to inflammation. So those are the kind of things that you're going to be looking for. Now, number 4 is where we actually kind of, put all of that stuff into action where you can make it happen daily. And that is where you execute meal planning on a daily, weekly basis, whatever, to make those things happen. The easiest way to make sure that you eat any kind of dietary style consistently and get the results that you're looking for is to have a plan in place. If you think about it, you are actually thinking about food all day long. You think about your breakfast, your snacks, your lunches, your afternoon snack if you have one. And then for me, I know for many, many other busy working women, I think we're busy regardless, no matter what, as women. But if you are thinking about dinner, you're thinking about it all day long, because if you don't have a plan in place, then all day you're trying to figure out, wait, what am I having for dinner again? Do we even have that? Do I have a recipe for it? It's just kind of this day-long stress that adds on top of everything else that you have going on. And one of my most favorite quotes is that meal planning is the most underrated stress management tool that there is. So I want you to fully embrace that. And really, if you don't know how to meal plan, then we cover this in some of the courses at TrueWell. And it really and truly makes a huge difference in stress and making sure that you stick to this dietary style. And so the next page is going to be just a simple meal planner for you that has all of the days of the week. And then you can make your shopping list as you go. Make some notes down here or add onto your shopping list. And then number 5 is to automate. Automation really is my favorite because I became obsessed with like spreadsheets and stuff because I just hate wasting time. And, time, it's our non-renewable resource. So I set up my system that I kind of referenced earlier about how I can pull up my meal plan for the week, generate my shopping list, and place the grocery order in less than 7 minutes a week. Sometimes I have it delivered. If I'm going to be out, I'll just go pick it up, do the curbside pickup. I know every once in a while we still have to go into the store, but honestly, using this system is such an easy way to get all of this done. Now, my system is completely set up, and I do have another course in TrueWell to teach how to do that, but basically my entire year is planned, and then I can reuse those plans for the rest of my life. This is a dietary style that we will adhere to for our life. And so this is what I have set up to make sure that I can do that without having to stress over it anymore. And then lastly, number 6 is going to be to tweak, turbocharge, and thrive. So like I said before, maintenance on your systems, it's just, a must. It's think about your house. You have all your AC system, your plumbing, all these different things that run in your house, but they have to be maintained. It's the same way with this. Your life is just going to change. Things are going to change. Your kids are growing up. You may move in and out of, different careers. Your complete lifestyle may change. And so we're just always going to have to tweak things to make them more efficient and make them work best for us. When we go into turbocharge and thrive, that's where we pull in the concepts of the core 4 of health and wellness, which is what I teach in my practice. And that is, again, an acronym. I love acronyms. Calm, oscillate, rest, and eat. So calm is when we can, pull our stress down. It's stress management. Oscillate, I chose this word because it starts with an O, but I really like the word oscillate versus exercise. People really hate to exercise. It's like a bad connotation that goes with it. And what I want to emphasize is that oscillation just means to move around. And if you're moving around all day long, that's going to be, the minimum for you to do, because that's going to help, move all of your blood flow in your body and help pull inflammation down in addition to your diet. So R is for rest. You got to get sleep. You have to get good sleep, quality sleep, enough sleep. And then eat is what we've covered in, our dietary style with, pinpointing exactly how we need to eat. Now, what's interesting about the core four is that they all work synergistically. So one can affect any other given one in this cycle. So it's not really just a cycle. It's, they really all interplay with each other. And I want to emphasize that all of these can either work for you or they can work against you. So again, I really want you to start getting curious about what kind of difference could one single change make in this cycle, this synergistic interplay of all of these four things that work together. And here's where I talk about that just a little bit more and how they all can, again, work either for you or against you. And then lastly is your next best steps. I honestly cannot wait for you to feel amazing every day by embracing this diet and lifestyle. And I understand that it can be overwhelming because just any dietary style change is overwhelming. But when you're thinking about, something you're really excited about, like having something that's, finally going to work to help you, kickstart that weight loss, take all of the inflammation and pain out of your joints, make your stomach quit hurting all day, all the things that go along with all of this, including crazy amounts of anxiety and, depression that just dampens so many days, weeks, months of our lives. All of these things can be alleviated with the anti-inflammatory diet, and I'm so excited for you to get started with it. So some links that I wanted to point you to at the bottom of this page is, this is the hub. TrueWell is going to be the website for all of the things that you can find, information on that. We've got some recipes. I'm trying to build this recipe database up so you can have really good options to get started with and understand how to find stuff for yourself. Follow us on Instagram, and then obviously subscribe on YouTube. That's where you're going to get any kind of notifications for new videos that we have. And then lastly is your 3-day anti-inflammatory meal plan, and that is going to include this matrix that shows I just put it at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you've got 3 days. You have a breakfast, lunch, a snack, and a dinner. And I am always looking for feedback on recipes and even on this quick start guide. So if you can, leave me comments, below this video, send me a DM on Instagram, email me. Any of those options are fantastic. I love hearing from you. Please ask questions. And I really, really hope that this quick start guide really helps you understand what the anti-inflammatory diet is all about, and not listening to, I've seen so many, random bloggers online that don't really understand what it is. And they give these quote unquote cheat sheets for what foods are inflammatory and anti-inflammatory, but they really don't understand how it works and how really personalized it has to be for each person. And there you have it, the best ways to use the Quick Start Guide for the anti-inflammatory diet. If you have any questions, you can comment them below, send me a DM, send me an email. If you don't have the Quick Start Guide already, there is a link below this video for you to sign up and get that as well. And make sure that you like the video to keep it boosted in the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel for all things anti-inflammatory diet. And thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching, and be true, be well, and I'll see you in the next video.